Hello and a very good afternoon here from Toronto Union Station. My name is Robin and I want to thank you very much for taking the time to watch this new video of mine. I'm here in Toronto to do something different than I usually do because we're not flying. No, we're taking a train to London, Ontario. It's the first time for me taking a train here in Canada, and so far the experience has been quite good because we're traveling in business class, and business class gives you access to the business lounge. So let's go check out the lounge. Then we're checking out the train. Very excited for this new experience. Then we're going to London, so please come with me. Toronto Union Station is located right in the heart of downtown Toronto, near many of the big tourist attractions. My walk from Kensington Market to the train station reminded me of my very first time in Canada just a few years back, and coming back here was pretty neat, especially considering the amazing weather when I recorded this in early March. Toronto has a very long history with trains, dating back even before the Canadian Confederation. According to the Toronto Railway Historical Association, the very first passenger train steamed out of Toronto in 1853, not far from here. So it's no surprise that you can find the Toronto Railway Museum right here by a preserved locomotive roundhouse. Toronto Union Station is the second busiest train station in North America, right after New York Penn Station, and it's Canada's busiest transportation facility. That's right, the station sees more traffic than Toronto Pearson Airport. Speaking of the airport, the UP Express is a direct rail link between the airport and Union Station, getting you downtown in just 25 minutes. Today, however, we're trying out Via Rail Business Class to London, Ontario. A business class fare gives access to the business lounge here in the station. The classic architecture from the Great Hall extends to the lounge and mixes very well with the modern furniture. Although it was on a Sunday, it still surprised me how quiet it was in the lounge. Other than a couple of apples, Via Rail doesn't serve any food in the lounge, not even snacks. But cold, non-alcoholic drinks and coffee are freely available. The lounge does have plenty of magazines and newspapers available, and a business corner with several computers and a printer. All in all, the lounge is a good place to wait for your train, but not something to go out of your way for. The lounge is especially a good place to wait in case of a delayed train, which, according to my good friend Alex Berglowski, who recommended me to take this trip, is quite common. The delay was luckily limited to only 45 minutes today. By the way, make sure to also watch Alex's trip report on this train ride, which I'll link in the top right corner. This route today is part of the Corridor train network. Although we're traveling only a tiny fraction of it today, the corridor stretches all the way out to Montreal and even Quebec City. After departure, we'll have a look at what you can expect on Via Rail Business Class.
For your safety, please follow yourself with the emergency features of your car by reading the pamphlet with the seat buckles in front of you and by locating the nearest emergency exit. Ask of consideration for passengers boarding at other stations. Please occupy the seat and far shoulder.
Shortly after departure, the very friendly crew came with a first round of drinks, and the drinks pour freely here at Via. I decided to start slow with just a beer, but even the cans are huge. Oh well. "25 minutes into the train ride and we arrived at the first stop, Oakville. This is the point where the business cars started to fill up quickly, and right after departure from Oakville, the crew announced the available meals and took orders. Also, wet towels were handed out. I sat back and I enjoyed the landscape while the sun sets. For supper, I chose a rice and salmon dish, which came with a bread roll, a bit of cheese, some grapes and a chocolate dessert. The main course was served steaming hot, and although a little dry, it tasted pretty good. I also really liked the Via logo on the cutlery, which is a nice touch. The Via logo is also an ambigram, meaning that it's the same even if you turn it 180 degrees. The very friendly crew made sure not to let me go thirsty today, or hungry, but definitely not thirsty. Via Rail work with assigned seating, although they don't allow to pick your own seat. After booking your ticket, a train number, car number, and a seat number are assigned. Based on the amount of passengers on your booking and the availability on the train, Via Rail automatically assigns a seat best suited for the group. So, since I booked for one person, I got a rear-facing single-seater. Similar to an airplane seat, the solo seats will come with a tray table, and duo seats and group seats have a larger table between the seats. Down in the seat pocket, you can find a safety card, information guide on Via Rail, garbage bag, and a magazine. The legroom is fantastic, and it even has a footrest. There's also a handy little table with a power socket, and although it doesn't turn into a full flat bed, the recline is fairly generous. A safety card is something that I really only expect on planes, but I guess it makes sense to have them on trains as well. Via Rail is a direct competitor to airlines, and thus it makes sense to mirror the ambience found on flights. And in my case, it did make much more sense to take a train to London rather than to fly. For one, it was cheaper. This business class fare costed me only 85 Canadian dollars. It's also more convenient with not having to go to the airport and not going through security. And it's more comfortable too, especially considering that the flight from Toronto to London would probably be operated with a Dash 8. Well, after a 2.5-hour train ride, we are now in London, Ontario, and I have to say, I actually really like trains, at least if they're like this. Because what I'm used to from back home in the Netherlands is that they're really just a tool for getting from point A to point B. But this was really comfortable. I had a great seat, it was great service, and I had a full meal included with salmon. Fantastic. It tasted pretty good, not great, but just pretty good. And the service was great as well. I really liked it. The service was on point. If trains are like this, I might actually like this and do it more often, because flying doesn't always have to be better, because it just takes a long time at the airport and going through security. And here with a train ride, you just hop on the train and you get to your destination. So if the service level is like this on all my train rides, I would probably do it more often. It's really the service here. But the problem is here in Canada that the distances are far and the prices for tickets would be expensive, so it wouldn't really work on long distances. Though after today, I really want to try the Canadian. So that's really the verdict. I like it. Who would have thought? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, please subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, see you next week.